9 a.m. Good morning, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. We are under a weather impact alert. Storms continue, and they've been going on for a couple of hours, and so that's why we've got a growing threat for flooding. Here's a live look at radar now. You'll notice a couple of different areas with different concerns. So for the eastern cities and counties at this point, we are watching some strengthening storms and the threat for some small hail and even some wind. So I'll take you closer to where there's a special weather statement right now exiting off of Chambers County. So Winnie, you are under the gun for some 40-mile-an-hour wind speeds in addition to frequent flashes of lightning. I'll take you back out towards the big view of the area, and you will notice that there's any sort of range of rain. So right now for the North Freeway, it's a little on the lighter side. Spring has moderate rainfall at this point, and right through the heart of the city, it's pretty heavy coming down for downtown. Unfortunately for El Campo and now once more Matagorda, those are areas that have seen some really heavy downpours. So I'll take you close to some of the heaviest rain right now. El Campo to Clemville, down to Blessing. Remember, Blessing to Palacios is an area that's had a bullseye 10+ inches of rainfall this morning. Let's work our way up 59-69. El Campo, moderate rain. Wharton, heavy rain, but seeing a little bit of a break here in the next 10 minutes. Needville, same thing there. Thompson's, more heavy rain. Sugarland, Richmond area. It's really coming down, especially for the east side of downtown, so closer towards Canal Street, Cloverleaf. I'll take you even closer towards the East Tex Freeway just to show you the rainfall rates out there. Coming down on 75th Street, I can get really tight for you. Galena Park, Harrisburg, Jacinto City. I'll stop radar right now and take a sample of the rainfall rate because that gives you an idea of what kind of rain we're tracking right now. So along the loop and points east, so closer to Beltway 8, rainfall is coming down at about 2 inches per hour. So that's why we're looking at the accumulation totals pretty carefully. I'm going to give you a wide view and show you how much lightning we have right now and also how much rainfall we have right now. Okay, lightning count over the last 15 minutes looks like this: 1,000. And actually, this is a count for just the last 10 minutes. 1,200 lightning strikes. And so anywhere you look, it is lit up like a Christmas tree, not to mention it is really loud. And how about the 6-hour rain totals? A couple different bullseyes, one for the East Freeway along the East Tex and Highway 90, and then another big bullseye for Matagorda and Brazoria. That area is under a flash flood warning. So additional rainfall is immediately problematic. It's not something that we'll wait and see. It's ongoing. It's an ongoing issue. I'll have a closer look at some of the rainfall totals in some of the areas that are a little bit more lit up. And you'll notice here, right near Liberty, so from Channelview all the way to Liberty, about 4 to probably 6 inches of rainfall. And for Palacios, 7 inches in 6 hours. If I take the clock back to about 8 hours, that's when you get those stronger, more pronounced radar signatures giving us 10+ inches of rainfall. Now, when are we going to get a break from this rain? I have tracked the last batch of these storms, so the tail end. Notice there could be some scattered storms even behind this, but the widespread blanketing rainfall should lift in the next 3 hours. Okay, it's still about 98 miles away from the heart of the city. And of course, it's going to take a few more hours to completely exit the area. But if you're curious about all the activity downtown, along the energy corridor, if you had any spots that you needed to get to today, I think it'll be more feasible for this afternoon. Until then, a flood advisory until 10:45 includes Baytown, League City, Alvin, Edo, Mont Bellevue. This entire area has received a ton of rain, and incoming moisture is not something that we're going to handle very well. So I can get you really close up here to some of those rainfall totals. The deeper orange there, that's coming up on 6 inches and slightly above that. And again, flash flood warning for Bay City and Wadsworth. That means the issue is happening right now. So it's not something that we're monitoring. It's something that is ongoing. That lasts until 11 o'clock in the morning, includes Bay City and again, Palacios. This particular section of our area, the southwest side, including Wharton, and all the way up into Fort Bend, has been hit really hard on multiple different angles. So early this morning, I was in at 2:30 tracking radar, and that's when these storms started to blow up. I'm talking about some severe components too. Look at this couplet that was spinning from Wharton up into the Needville area. That's when it kind of fell apart. But for a brief moment in time, maybe about 20 minutes or so, it was showing rotation. There was a tornado warning, and the National Weather Service is getting reports of at least 10 homes damaged, several cars damaged too. The survey team will have to get boots on the ground to see if that was a confirmed tornado, but radar signature and ground observations are certainly pointing to that. So the severe threat is something that we have to monitor as well, in addition to the excessive rainfall and the potential for flooding. So right now, a special weather statement from the National Weather Service for Chambers County. So this is pushing towards the northeast at about 30 miles an hour. So up next is going to be windy. And what do you have to watch for? Well, the potential of some strong wind and some lightning. Luckily, further west, the lightning has let up a little bit for the loop in the Beltway. Memorial, the Heights, you're still looking at some pretty heavy rain, but at this point, it's not bringing you a flood concern. It's really for our east siders that we have to watch. The entire day does bring a flood risk, and it's pretty, it makes sense. It's easy to understand. We've had so much rain so far, and today we've had a big batch of rain coming in pretty fast. So something to keep in mind, at least through the late morning into the early afternoon, is the threat for flooding and even the potential for a couple of strong to severe storms. We're going to take a break this evening and tomorrow morning, and then we're back at it again for tomorrow afternoon, back at it again for Saturday afternoon. This unsettled pattern does continue. Future track radar shows us the main impacts from this first line are through the area by the early afternoon. And then again, more round of storms are incoming. We have got a team coverage with meteorologist Chris Ramirez. He's going to give you another look at radar right now. In case you are just joining us, Chris, what should people be wary of? What should they look out for as they hit the road, or hopefully don't?
Right, for sure. And I think right now is when we're starting to see that flooding risk take shape here across southeast Texas. Not really for Houston proper, but for portions of Houston. We have seen another warning has just came out. The National Weather Services has now just issued a flood warning that does include Pasadena, LaPorte, Baytown until 12 p.m. So like we've been showing you that more of the heavier rainfall has been occurring east of the city, and that's what we're seeing right now. So all of the East Sam Houston Tollway along I-10, even Baytown, Shore Acres, where you see this shaded green is where that flood warning is expected to be issued, as well as that we could see some flooding in these locations, especially as we head into the rest of our morning. We still have a lot of red on radar, which is indicative of some heavy rain that's currently ongoing, but we also have some confirmed reports of some possible flooding that's happening along I-45. So this is a storm report that just came in from the National Weather Service that has been confirmed out in Dickinson. Of course, they are reporting flooding along I-45 and local street flooding. So now we're getting into the point where along the major freeways and highways, we're going to have to start really keeping an eye on those frontage roads that are starting to those ponding that's starting to get a little bit bigger in terms of starting to encompass more so of the road and the roadway. So the flooding risk definitely increasing as we are continuing to see this heavy rain. And as we go into looking at our live flood gauges in place across Harris County, it's looking for the most part not too bad. We're seeing mostly all of our streams and bayous are mostly in the green, which is showing mostly good conditions. However, like I showed you before, areas east of Harris County looking more likely that the San Jacinto River is becoming just a little bit swollen. I think that's a little bit of a stream that's off to the East Sam Houston Tollway. So where you see the yellow is a moderate flooding, and then if it's red, that means it's we're seeing at flooding stage. So moderate flooding is definitely in case for all of those streams and those bayous that are east of the Houston area, especially in and around the Lake Houston area. I believe that's the east and west fork of the San Jacinto River that heads towards Baytown. Even Baytown, seeing those streams becoming a little bit swollen as we progress through the morning. So like Kim was just saying, that's the reason why that the flood risk and the flood watches are in place across our area. So the flood watch in place for most of southeast Texas until 7 p.m. today, and that's exactly what we're seeing is some of those areas becoming a bit, that ponding is starting to become a little bit bigger in terms of the flood, the passable roadways. So right now for Houston, flood advisory still in place. That does include most of the Houston area. That's until 10:45. However, as we progress through the morning, I can only imagine that most of this rain that's off towards the southwest of town, we still have a lot of it coming. So it's not expecting to really let up anytime soon, especially from El Campo, Angleton, Freeport, Galveston. Now seeing some heavy rain as well as areas in Montgomery County from Spring to Cleveland. So it's looking like our northern area is not really receiving more of the heavier rainfall. It's areas from Houston to Galveston along the coast that we've seen those heavier rainfall accumulations in excess between 5 or 6 inches, especially for Matagorda County. So as we look at our neighborhood weather network, we are seeing in Matagorda County that some areas, especially along Matagorda Bay, receive between 5 to 6 inches of rain from those weather stations that are in that location. So the good news is that we have not seen this in the more of the populated areas, but as we take a closer look at Matagorda, up to 8 inches of rain. That's actually increased from the last time we saw it at Matagorda headquarters. County Road 391 in Matagorda County, 6.43 inches of rain, up to 3.25. I think those numbers just changed. It was at 6.43. Now it just jumped up to 6.49. So rain continuing to fall across southeast Texas as we head into the next few hours. And then like Kim just mentioned with the future track is the amount of rain that falls in a shorter amount of time. That really does contribute to the flooding concerns in some locations. So as we look at our future track, we are expecting this to last at least through the 9 o'clock hour through at least closer towards 11 o'clock is when we're expecting to see this rain sort of to continue to be in the picture at least by the noon hour. And it's not really until 2 to 3 p.m. is when we could start seeing most of this heavy rainfall still near the coast, just offshore, off towards the east. So we're not really going to see much relief of the rainfall, at least closer towards 4 to 5 p.m. But like I said, it's the flooding concerns that we will have to keep an eye on. And of course, as we warm up throughout the day, we still do have to keep an eye on that severe storm risk that could spit out some storms that has some 50 to 60 mile an hour winds as well as some possible hail with it. So definitely we're keeping an eye on that, and we are definitely keeping you updated with the weather conditions for today as well as those hazardous roads through the next few hours. Jen, what are we seeing out there?
I mean, you know, for anybody who was sleeping in and who was waking up hoping that it was all over and done with, it's not. And we have the middle of this to get through all the way till 7 p.m. tonight. Our roads can only take so much rain, so I am not surprised that we are seeing confirmed high water spots. If you've been following my social media accounts, I've been reposting from officials as quickly as I can. If you have to be on the roads, we do want you to take it slow. Some of that rain is going to force you to drive slower, but cell phones down, that's not a good idea. Leave plenty of space between you and any heavy truck. It takes them twice as long to stop, and especially when things are wet, we tend to get, you know, jackknife 18-wheelers, and we don't want that to be a situation. My earlier drivers, you guys did a great job. We didn't have any major incidents. We had wrecks, but no overturned 18-wheelers. We didn't have anything that was jackknife. Avoid any sudden moves. Okay, back to the radar. Yes, you can see that our area is still getting hit with rain, and the waves just keep coming. And over on the east side, Kaplan over to Winnie, if anybody's driving out toward Beaumont this morning, I-10 has been saturated. And anybody who's staying in town around Mont Belvieu and Channelview, we have had confirmed flooding. Uvalde under I-10 has been flooded. Monmouth under I-10. So watch out for those underpasses as they are easily collecting water. And sometimes drainage works properly, and other times, you know, there's stoppage because of trash in the drainage or just the amount of rain that's come down. It just takes a while to push all that water out to the Gulf. We're going to zoom in because flooding taking place at 517 and 45 right near that area. Clear Lake, a warning for side streets to be underwater. LaPorte, Pasadena, right near Ellington Field. We're talking from the Friendswood area, League City 45, Highway 3 or Old Galveston Road. That warning stretches all the way up 146 around Shore Acres up to LaPorte. Side streets, underpasses, they are all places that you should really either avoid or be extra cautious, especially if you have a lower vehicle. We have 2 crashes working, one at 59 and 288. Another involving an 18-wheeler off of the 610 South Loop at MLK in the eastbound direction. We've been reporting on these crashes. Downtown Houston, typically busy, a little bit of southbound traffic along the West Loop. But I think a lot of folks were like, okay, I'm going to call my boss and I'm going to call in and I'm going to work from home. So if that's still an option for you, even if you had like a lunch date or something going on and you were hoping that this was going to bypass, I just wouldn't risk it if I were you. That 18-wheeler crash right here at MLK, you know, and this right here at 69 and 288, slowing things down as you make your way into downtown Houston. And with the wet roads, things are so soggy. Again, if you are going to a location, the drive times, let's say Baytown, 21 minutes, give yourself 30 minutes. Give yourself more time than what you see here on the traffic map, just so that you are driving with extra precaution. Out of the Woodlands, 45 minutes. That'll get you down 45 into downtown. Cypress, 31 minutes. Katy, folks, right now leaving the Katy area, it'll take you 45 minutes down the I-10 corridor. Sugarland, 36 minutes into town. And again, we ask you to use extra precautions, especially in the interchanges where things sort of dip down and water can easily collect. Thank you for watching us on our digital stream. We plan to be back at 9:30 for you.